Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Sorry that I'm not on camera. I know I said I was going to start doing that after I did it in last week's video, but I've actually been really sick and no one wants to see what I look like right now, trust me. I think what you will want to see is what is inside this box. Even I am excited for that because this is my first art subscription box, and it is the August Scrawlrbox. The first item in the box is this little 24-page travel sketchbook from Clairefontaine. It has really high quality thick paper that works really well with the markers in the box. I've also noticed that Scrawlrboxes a lot of times come with a pencil. This one has a 4H, which is really nice because everyone can always use more quality pencils and build up their collections. This is a Pilot drawing pen. It didn't actually say the size, but I think it's a 0.5 because it's called the 05. In each box you also get a fun little snack. I don't know if this box is related to the art snacks box, but I guess somebody out there likes the idea of pairing snacks and candy with art. Although don't try and get me into that habit because that would be deadly for me. Now that brings us to the star of the show, and that is the Chameleon markers. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit bummed when I found out they were fine liners, but I'm still very intrigued by their color blending abilities, so we're gonna test that out and give them a fair shot. Last, before we try out our supplies, there are 3 small things left in the box. That is a piece of artwork, a list of descriptions of all the supplies, and each month there is a different sticker based on that month's topic. We also have the Scrawler Challenge, which this month is Rainbow Renaissance, which you can see our artist did here. And his name is Jonathan Knight. There's some information about him on the back and also his socials. Before I step way out of my comfort zone and attempt this month's challenge, I am going to test out these Chameleon markers a little bit more. I'm trying them out by themselves, and then I'm going to play around a little bit with their color blending abilities. When I told you earlier that I was a little disappointed that these were fine liners, there's 2 reasons for that. And the first reason is that if you're trying to solidly color in an object, as I am with this gray box here, you can see it immediately starts to tear the paper or just looks very streaky. So if you're trying to color an entire picture with fine liners, you're kind of forced to use the crosshatch style shading like the artist in the sample art in the box did, which is still very beautiful, but it's the only style you can really achieve with these. And if you want to just simply fine line with them, then the color blending doesn't work. All negatives aside, the fun part is the actual color blending. Now each pen has ink in the base and the lid, so if you take the lid from one pen and put it onto another, hold it vertically for 10 seconds, then that marker will soak up some of that ink and it will start to color in the color from the lid and eventually blend back to its original color. So as you can see, the yellow pencil fine liner starts off coloring red because the red lid was on it, and then it slowly blends back to the original yellow, and as it blends in between there is a nice shade of orange. So you could even just use this technique if you wanted to use some orange. You could do this on a scrap piece of paper until it got to the orange and then start coloring as if you're using just an orange marker. So it's pretty cool. It lets you have many more options of color than just these 6 markers. Next, I'm testing the green marker with the yellow lid, and the reason I'm using yellow in the first 2 tests, other than the fact that I'm just making a rainbow here, is to see that such a light color can work well with the darker colors. In the fact that this green marker started off coloring a solid bright yellow just shows that this technique does really work, and the fact that the yellow marker was able to come back from having red ink on it and coloring dark red to recovering all the way back to a very bright yellow shows that these markers are not affected by the ink added to them, and as you use them, they do go back to their original color. This last line here, I actually wanted to finish the rainbow I had started, but I got a little mixed up and I made it backwards. I made it go from blue to green. Sometimes I got a little mixed up. I don't know why. It's very simple. The cap on the marker is what is going to come out first. So I should have put the green cap onto the blue marker. I'm finally ready to attempt this month's challenge, Rainbow Renaissance. Now I'm way out of my comfort zone here, and I just really roughly sketched the Mona Lisa from memory, so please don't be too hard on me. I'm just having a little fun and getting out of my comfort zone. I love a good art challenge, but I usually don't show it, especially on video, so please be nice in the comments. I know this isn't a masterpiece, but it was very fun doing, and I always learn when I try new styles. So this did bring me to another negative about the markers though, and that is you can see on the right side of her head, that entire strand of hair is red, and it is actually meant to look like the left side where it blends into the yellow, but you cannot time how long it's going to take for the marker to blend out. So it might take longer on one strand than it is on another. They might be uneven, or it might be what happened here where the red stayed red for the entire strand of hair and didn't blend back into the yellow until I got 2 strands in, and when I tried to replicate that on the left, it blended just how I wanted it to the first time. So although we just added 2 more negatives to the list here, I am having a lot of fun doing this, and it is a very cool idea. I think I would like to try the regular markers that do this, the regular brush tip chameleon markers. I think that those could work a lot better. The 2 ways that I would use these fine liners in is 1 to do crosshatch shading, and 2 to do color fine lining where you're just outlining things, and you could use the blending technique to create lots of new shades and new colors. For example, this marker set doesn't come with an orange or a purple, but if you use the blending technique on a scrap piece of paper, once the marker got to be the exact color that you wanted it, then you could bring it back to your drawing and use it there. You wouldn't be using the blending technique on your drawing, but you would be using these markers to get lots of different shades that you wouldn't have had before. So I still really like these markers, and I did enjoy trying to crosshatch shade Mona Lisa's face, especially since I wasn't looking at a reference photo. But I had a lot of fun. I love trying out new styles of art, and as long as you guys don't judge me, I will say that I'm happy with how it turned out. I really like the fact that the Scrawlrbox includes a challenge of the month that coincides with the supplies they give you. It really pushes you to try new things, put me a little bit out of my comfort zone with this one, and I normally wouldn't show you guys a little scrapbook sketch like this, but I had fun doing it. I actually did learn a little bit even just from this small piece right here. I definitely want to do some more crosshatch shading pieces in the future, and I was just starting to get into fine lining anyway, so it was kind of perfect timing. Now that I have some color fine liners, I can see what new styles I can do with that as well. So all in all, really happy with the Scrawlrbox. It was my first art subscription box, and now I want to get a million more. I cannot wait to see what is in next month's box. If you like this video, please subscribe and check out some of my others.